And we say, whoa, 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 let's stop right there. Now, you mean like he didn't wait like 3.5 years? I mean, he didn't like wait until his family members could be there? I mean, he didn't wait until like he fully understood what baptism was about and he had been through the class and done the deal, right? I mean, it's like, why would you go ahead and be baptized in? This is like belief and baptism. Boom. Just like that. So he got up and he was baptized. And then beyond that, it's amazing. It says that he went into the temple, back to the place where he was going to persecute people, back to the place where he was going to say bad things about Jesus, back to the place where he was going to kill people. And he goes back into this area of the temple or the synagogue. It's amazing. He starts speaking and sharing with all these would-be Jews about who Jesus is and that he is their Messiah. This is phenomenal. And so all of these people now in the synagogue area, all Jews, are like astounded. They're like, man, isn't this the guy? I mean, isn't he the one that in Jerusalem, he completely wreaked havoc with everything? I mean, hasn't he come here to arrest people? They were astonished. And yet, Saul turned Paul absolutely grew greater and greater in power and in influence, and he absolutely astonished all of these people and baffled all of these people that were Jews there in the synagogue area. And then, boom, he leaves Damascus and comes back to Jerusalem. Because if you had just become a believer in Jesus Christ, if you had just gotten baptized, and if you were able to do these powerful, amazing things, and God was having such an impact through you, I mean, hey, wouldn't you want to go back and meet the guys that were like the closest to Jesus, that like walked with him, that were like the apostles? And he comes back to Jerusalem, and the phenomenal thing about it is this. He says, it says that the disciples wouldn't even receive him because they were fearful. They were scared to death because they didn't think he was a real disciple. They really didn't think he had turned from Saul to Paul. They really didn't think he had turned from death to life. And finally they receive him into their midst, and he is able to preach and teach freely in Jerusalem. Now I want to go back to one key statement. I want to say this. This is very important. Notice what happens when God comes to Ananias. I want to say this. This is very important. Look at what he says there. God, I don't want to deal with this guy. God, I don't want to have to help this guy. I mean, this guy's a persecutor of your people. And God says, hey, but Ananias, go. But Ananias, get up and go, because this man is my chosen instrument to take and proclaim my truth to the Gentiles and their kings and to the people of Israel. And you know what is amazing to me? This is like my favorite verse of the entire book of Acts. You know why? Because here this guy is, and this is the guy that we would say he'd never become an advocate of Christianity. He'd never have life change like this. His life would never be completely overturned like that. And yet God says, this is my chosen instrument. I tell you what, does anybody have a problem with God using prostitutes to get his work done? Does anybody have a problem God using murderers, Moses and David, to be leaders of the nation of Israel and to get his work done in the world? Does anybody have a problem with Gentiles, non-Jews, the non-sequiturs being the people that God uses? I'm going to tell you, God absolutely loves to take people in a personal way, take people that normally would never ever fit into your box, would never ever fit into your mold, and radically change their lives. And the only thing Paul could basically say to people is when he got up to be baptized, when he believed and then he was baptized, is this: hey, his name is Jesus and he has radically changed my life. And I want to go back to these two questions. Because at the end of the day, for all of us, anybody who is unconvinced or skeptical, or friends of yours that are unconvinced or skeptical, you got to come back to these two questions. What happened? Because our lives are from death to life. This is my life the way it was before. This is my life now. And the other question that's huge that I want to challenge you to ask and answer is, who is he? Who is Jesus? And when all of the other questions are big, when all of the other questions are looming, focus the conversation on who is Jesus. what really happened on the cross, what really happened with the tomb. What is he really, God and man? And that will answer the question. Now, for some of you here this morning, you need to continue to ask questions. What happened and who is he? For others of you this morning, and maybe somebody who's in your life, you know what? You come to the place where you've gotten some of your questions answered, and you understand that it's about a personal relationship. You understand you need to have some trust and some humility to come to God, and you're kind of to the place where you're like, man, I want to place my faith in him. I want to understand how to have a relationship with him. I want to just share with you how to do that. And there's a prayer there on your handout that I just want to make available to you this morning, and then we're going to kind of close things down here. You know, the fact of the matter is God sent Jesus into the world to take care of our two greatest problems. Our two greatest problems is that we didn't have a relationship with God, and that sin was the thing that was in the way of us having that relationship. And so just like some of us have been praying for the last couple of weeks, and I've challenged you to pray this personal prayer. Make it personal. Ask the questions. What happened and who is he? Because here's what happens. You start asking that prayer, and you say, God, I want to know you. More than I want to have my questions answered, I want to know who you are. And just tack on to that. Hey, and God, you know what? Not only do I want to just kind of know a little bit about you, I want to know really who you are and what you've done in other people's lives and what you want to do in mine.